Hi, my name is Cedric. I'm 17 years old and I'm currently studying at Valhalla High School in El Cajon, California. Yes, I am a 4-year varsity lacrosse player. I've been playing lacrosse for roughly, I'd say, since my 5th grade year, so about 8 years now, I think, if that's the right calculation, counting it all. And I've been it's a surreal experience because I've been doing it for so long and I'm going on to play in college, and it's just this it's something you can easily get lost in. The mindset of the game, it just allows you to vent all those emotions that you don't really think that you have until you let them go and you're like, wow, I feel so much better after playing the game. And then for music, it's just another one of those methods of expressing your emotions in a way that is I guess it's a creative outlet. It's expressing in your own way how you feel and how everything around you is just going on and how everything's changing your life. Music is just its own entity, and it's a big entity, but it's one that I personally like to use myself. I don't think I travel too much, but I do travel quite a bit. Last year I went to Iceland with my choir, so we went to London and we went to Reykjavik, We went to Reykjavik, and that was probably a great travel experience. But I mean, in terms of going all around the world, I wouldn't say we do that too much, but around the United States, around our area, I've been to pretty much every small town in California you can think of because of lacrosse, and I just go a bunch of places for it. So the things that I do take me a lot of places. Living outside of the United States, whether it was a travel abroad program or whether it was just living to experience a different place, absolutely, I've thought about it. I like experiencing new things. So living outside of the US and immersing yourself in a different culture sounds like an amazing experience. I did that in Reykjavik, and that was amazing, and I would absolutely go back. And I was only there for a week, but it was a surreal experience. I think it taught me how to be comfortable in my own skin, just being comfortable with being myself in another space, because a lot of the times people try to mold themselves to the situation they're in. For example, if you're in a group of people who you don't know, you'd probably try to mimic their behaviors, you try to act more like them so that they don't single you out. But when you're placed into such a different environment, you have to make sure you're yourself, because if you don't, then you just become someone you don't even know, and everything just inside your mind falls apart. You're like, who am I? But being in such a different environment helps you be sure of who you are. I think I've narrowed it down to a couple, but I'm never a person who likes setting hard limits for myself just because I know how futures can be. Everyone has some major event that happens to them that causes them to change the entire headwind of their path. Some people go through a hard breakup, other people meet this amazing person or go through this amazing class that teaches them everything they would want to know. But I mean, for me, my major is probably going to be biology, because that can go so many different routes. And you leave yourself open to a lot of different possibilities, which for me is what I want, because once I get to the end of my college experience, I have a feeling I'll know where I want to go. There's a lot of different approaches you can take to that, because I feel everyone has a problem that they like to think is the big problem of the world. And I think there's so many little problems that people don't think about because they get caught up in the big problems. For example, my socio class, we're currently doing a unit on foster care, and learning about this being one of those smaller issues that you don't think about it's mind-blowing to learn about all these things, because there's so many little things that people don't focus on. So I think for me personally, I try to help focus on the little things, because the little things help the people that really matter, those small communities, the people that don't get their voice heard. Whether that's cleaning up a neighborhood park or helping build a rec center, or just doing a food drive for some people who need it. It's the little things that make the biggest difference. That reminds me of oh God, what's the Midas touch story? Because it has a name for it. I think it's called the hedonic treadmill, where if you keep getting good things happening to you without any challenge, stuff just isn't gonna feel good. So you need challenge in your life, not only to live and experience life, but just to be a good person. You need it to be a good person, and you need it to feel and experience, because you can't know happy if you haven't known sad. You can't know good unless you've known bad. So if you keep experiencing better and better and better things, then everything's just gonna fall apart, fall flat, because you don't know what bad is. I think my main message that I just wanna spread to people is live your life. Don't be afraid to live it, because a lot of the time you're afraid to do things that are really important to you. You'd be afraid to, for example, if you're wanting to ask someone out, do it. Because being afraid of things only serves to hold you back. Failure is a lesson. It teaches you how to do things. Failure isn't bad. The only way that you can imagine you're a bodybuilder or something like that. The only way you can get muscle is by training to failure. The only way that you can become really good at math is by failing at math a bunch of times, and then you get good at it. The only way you can learn to be a good guitarist or be a good pianist or be any of those things is by being comfortable with failure. So if you can get comfortable with failure, you can live the rest of your life out with everything you want, because you should never be afraid to fail. You just have to keep going, keep failing, keep doing everything wrong, and then eventually you'll get everything right, and it'll all just click.